collaborative partnership with the public and private sectors, HAWC prevents domestic and sexual violence through data-driven public health advocacy and innovative comprehensive services to survivors of domestic abuse, sexual assault, and sex trafficking. Unprecedented in size and scope, One Safe Place Houston represents the next chapter in HAWC's storied 48-year history. A comprehensive, secure 5.5-acre campus, and beautiful, if I might add. There is nothing like it in the world, and I don't think that's Texas hyperbole. That is true. We are here to celebrate the opening of our new emergency and transitional housing and supportive services facility, and to declare victory on phase 1 of our campus expansion plans. The building in front of you represents an innovative approach to supporting survivors fleeing violence. Rather than shelter beds and shared bathrooms, we have built 135 apartments that, when at capacity, will triple the safe housing to most of the callers who reach out to us, even when we know they are in imminent danger. By some estimates, 8 out of 10 survivors in danger are unable to access real-time safety. It is our fervent hope and our deepest conviction that One Safe Place Houston will help reduce the turnaway rate and save lives. Please know, we will scale our operations carefully and responsibly, opening the apartments only as we know we can provide adequate support for each survivor and her children who cross the threshold of One Safe Place Houston. The campus will also be a hub for clients who do not need access to emergency shelter, but who very much need access to our comprehensive life-saving services. This is a disclosed location representing a fundamental departure from our past practice. We made the decision to disclose the location for several reasons, primarily because advances in technology are such that it is virtually impossible to keep a location secret. More importantly, we want survivors to know where we are, to feel safe, to feel proud coming here, discriminate, and know no boundaries. So many people have been involved in bringing this moment to fruition, and I want to take just a moment to recognize them. I would be remiss if I didn't lift up Mayor Turner and the City of Houston, whose initial investment of $16 million, just shy, provided a kickstart to these efforts. This building is a testament to his leadership and to his commitment to supporting survivors of domestic and sexual violence. I want to thank what I call the dream team who came together to bring this beautiful facility to you: Camden, Forney Construction, GSMA Architects, New Hope Housing, our developer partner, Baker Botts and Dwayne Morris, who provided essential legal services support for HAWC in this process. I want to thank the generous donors and foundations who helped fund phase 1 and ensure this building was successfully completed. I want you to thank the staff of the Houston Area Women's Center who have navigated exceptionally challenging circumstances. The increased demand for our services from COVID up until today, the sale of our headquarters on HAWC, I've lost count of how many natural disasters we've been through, and now the concern over our federal funding. I would ask those of you gathered here to remember that even when our staff are personally affected by those issues, they still show up to make sure that HAWC is available to serve survivors 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. They deserve your admiration and respect. We are here to celebrate the opening of this building, to be sure, but we are here for something far more important than a building. We are here because HAWC envisions a future for Houston comprised of safe, thriving communities, liberated from violence, defined by loving families and healthy relationships. One Safe Place Houston is where we're going to showcase what that future looks like and how we can get there together. Not in the abstract, but concretely, every day. For every person who crosses the threshold of One Safe Place Houston, survivors, strategic partners, volunteers, we hope you will see and feel healing in the wake of harm. We want you to understand what it requires for families and communities to be liberated from the cycles of violence. We want you to see it in action. And most importantly, we want everybody who comes on this campus to feel safe and loved. Certainly, there can be no more important impact of violence on women and women of color. We couldn't be prouder to have you here, Mayor Whitmire, and to know that we are in lockstep with you to save lives throughout our great city. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ms. Whitehurst, for your outstanding leadership. Leadership does matter, and I've watched you collaborate with all levels of government, law enforcement, the prosecution, the healthcare community. We have a great city, great people, and today, in real time, we get to see why we're so great. As Emily pointed out, throughout my legislative career, I have networked with the Women's Center on legislation, increasing the penalty, holding people accountable. And during these years, they started in '77, I started in '73, so we've been partners the entire journey. The only complaint I've ever heard against Women's Center was it was too small. No longer, thanks to different levels of government, the collaboration, the nonprofit, the philanthropic, and every one of you that are here present today. So this is a celebration, but our work is not finished. In the shadows of downtown, there are women being abused. You never can imagine where you'll find it. I was in the yard one day a couple years ago in our security patrol. Officer stopped and said, "You're a senator?" I said, "Yes. I'm being abused. I can't go home tonight. I don't know what to do." So obviously, I knew where to turn. They accepted this person. We got her dog in a shelter, and it was a success story. She was able to get away from the daily threats and abuses. We have to be mindful of those that are undocumented. I've been in locations where people are being abused, but they're afraid to come out and ask for help. That's not the case in Houston, Texas. We help you if you need help. So let's celebrate today, but realize we have a lot of work left to do. Let's go to work. Thank you all.
Here. I think that today really reflects even if you haven't experienced domestic violence firsthand, chances are you know somebody. I myself personally have a friend right now who needs these kinds of services, who would very much benefit from many of the services that the Houston Area Women's Center provides. Victims of domestic violence may not always speak out, but they're always present, trying to be heard, trying to survive, trying to exit their situation. One of the most important things that the Houston Area Women's Center does, and we were having this conversation earlier today, is, of course, this new facility. The conversation earlier today is, of course, this new facility, the apartments that are going to be such a game changer for certain survivors, but also the wraparound services. The hardest part of getting to safety is leaving, and so they help women with that safety planning. They help women in custody battles. They help women with mental health support. They help children who need that kind of support. So this is really a wraparound situation. And one of the conversations we were having with President Whitehurst here is, you still have to turn 8 out of 10 survivors away, or women who call, particularly requesting services for space. And so just think about that, the commitment to pushing forward, to building bigger, to collaborating with other smaller organizations, and of course with the city, county, and the federal government. One of the most important things that we can do, each of us here, to support victims of domestic violence is to get ourselves and those around us informed about what domestic violence is. We think sometimes of physical violence, and of course that's part of it, but that's not all of it. Domestic violence, and this is the nation, and there are hotlines that they can call. The hotline at the Houston Area Women's Center is open 24 hours, and that's part of what's really important. People can text, people can go online. Every survivor deserves safety. Every child deserves a life free from fear, and every community deserves the tools to prevent violence before it begins. So I just want to briefly mention Harris County's commitment. Since 2020, we've invested around $23 million in addressing domestic violence throughout our region. That's not just the Houston Area Women's Center, but various organizations. About half of that 2020 through 2022, the other half since 2022. And it's around speeding up the court backlog on domestic violence issues, helping build infrastructure, child care, mental health support for kids and families impacted by domestic violence, etc. And we have an ongoing commitment of $1.5 million to direct financial, flexible financial support to survivors of domestic violence, and that's of course also part of the 20-some-odd million. So I want to just reflect on the impact of that, around 6,000 survivors being supported, and of course many, many more that the Houston Area Women's Center supports. Let me close with this, and that's about the federal funding freeze. I was told earlier today by the leadership of the organization their budget is around $20 million. Am I getting that right, President? And so about half of that budget comes from federal funds, including the vast majority of our $20 million contribution. So let's just think about this when we discuss the federal funding freeze. Sometimes the impacted causes that we forget are part of that as well. So thank you guys. Let's keep standing together. To all my colleagues here, thank you so much. And I'm going to just briefly summarize in Spanish before passing it on to my next colleague, who is District Attorney Shantir. Quiero primero darle las gracias a todos los que están aquí, tanto la ciudad, el condado. Muchos de estos fondos son fondos federales, obviamente la organización Houston Area Women's Center, y también tantos líderes comunitarios que han ayudado con todos estos esfuerzos. El dejar el abuso es la parte más peligrosa, y también se necesita apoyo legal, apoyo para la custodia de los niños, salud mental. Todo eso lo ofrece esta organización. Pero aún con el apoyo financiero de la ciudad, del condado, del gobierno federal, 8 de las 10 personas, más que nada mujeres, que llaman a poder mudarse a uno de estos apartamentos, no pueden recibir la ayuda que necesitan porque no hay suficiente capacidad. Entonces, esta es una celebración, una expansión importante, ofrecer apartamentos para las familias que se ven impactadas, pero también hay que recordar que el trabajo continúa. Una cosa muy importante, la información, informarnos de qué se trata la violencia doméstica. No es solamente violencia física, también se trata de violencia emocional, violencia financiera. Entonces, ayúdenos a informar a su comunidad que esta organización también apoya con eso. Hay llamadas en muchos idiomas, está la línea telefónica, es gratis, está abierta a las 24 horas, se puede inclusive enviar mensajes de texto. Y quiero también compartirles que desde el 2020 el condado Harris ha invertido alrededor de $23 millones en iniciativas alrededor de este tema, apoyando a los niños afectados por violencia doméstica, ofreciéndole fondos a las mujeres sobrevivientes, ayuda legal, etcétera. Entonces, le quiero dar las gracias a la organización, a tanta gente que ha apoyado este crecimiento, y terminar por reconocer el hecho de que la mitad del presupuesto anual de esta organización son fondos federales. Entonces es algo más que considerar en este momento en el que se atacan los fondos federales y hay una pausa en esos fondos por parte del gobierno federal de los Estados Unidos. Entonces, bueno, muchísimas gracias, gracias a HAWC y a tanta gente que está aquí apoyándonos. Thank you so much, and we will now have District Attorney Shantir.
I have to lift that up a little bit, Judge. I am so excited for all of you to be lucky enough to go on this tour you're about to go on. I was able to do it last week. This is a sea change from what services we as law enforcement and other stakeholders have been able to provide for survivors and their families. The collaborative effort from everyone on this stage and all of our predecessors that we're able to get HAWC the funding and support to create this incredible venue is unmatched, I think, in the United States. What services we as a group are going to be able to provide to survivors here is unmatched. From the constant presence of our newly created Domestic Violence Bureau that will be here to advise survivors on their next steps in the legal system, who'll be here to get protective orders created and filed on behalf of the survivors that need them. Our Domestic Violence and Special Victims Bureau that will be here to advocate on behalf of survivors of sexual abuse, because they go hand in hand so often. To hold the victims up, to lift them up, and to hold the offenders accountable on a day-to-day basis. It's going to be better. It's going to be better for every single survivor and family member in this community. And we're quickly becoming the second largest county in the United States. So we are going to deal with these things, and we've got to be proactive in how we go about doing it. It's got to be through a collaborative effort with entities and groups like HAWC and law enforcement and the rest of county and city government. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to see all of the purple, because we're here on behalf of the survivors. The wraparound services that this organization and this group are going to provide are so critical to saving lives and, quite frankly, driving down crime, because the crime that comes from domestic violence and all of the other things that come from that are real crime drivers in our community. So we've got to be proactive, and this 5.5-acre campus is the beginning of that collaborative effort. So with that, I'm going to hand it to Councilmember Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, who has been fighting on this front for decades. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. DA. I really appreciate that introduction. I am Councilmember Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, the council member for District D, what I call the District of Destination. And I'm so very honored that One Safe Place Houston is right here in District D. Certainly, I have to recognize my colleague, Abby Kamen, who housed these facilities for many, many years from District C, and then at-large council member Willie Davis, who just joined us, but only just joined us on council. He didn't just join us in the fight. And so certainly, I'm certainly honored to be here. This took 2 minutes. Seems like, goodness, we were just here breaking the dirt, and we're here today. And I've been just kind of sitting there, and I really don't share this, but you never know what a survivor looks like. And I am a survivor. Yeah, I'm a big woman, and I can handle myself. But certainly you can get yourself in situations, and it's very difficult. So I know personally the embarrassment, the fear, the disgust of knowing that you are really kind of helpless and hopeless. And so this really means a lot to me personally, because back then, we didn't have these kinds of facilities or access to them. And so certainly this is near and dear to my heart. And I've never shared this. Actually, I think one person I've told this to in my whole life, and I guess she didn't tell anybody because it didn't hit the news. But at any rate, I do thank everyone who has come today to support this wonderful organization. I'm not going to keep it long. I don't speak Spanish well, any other language except Ebonics, right? Right. But anyway, this is such an honor for me to stand here, and we're going to continue to stand with the survivors. I was hoping I would hear the wonderful voice of Pamela Ellis this morning, and if you have never heard her, you have not been blessed by the voice of an angel, because not only is she working hard here, she is praising and certainly lifting up the people on Sunday mornings, and I want to thank you personally, Ms. Ellis. And so we're going to continue to champion their healing and work every day to create a safer Houston. And as I've heard Emily say before, we want to reduce the need for these facilities. We want people to be educated and know that they have a chance. We want those that are abusing to know that they need to get help because they possibly have been in situations growing up themselves that were never addressed. And so it's cyclical, but it's something that is so very, very worthy. And I am really happy to be here to serve District D. And again, I want to emphasize, whoever is putting these wraparound services together, I certainly lift you up in prayer because this is very, very important. And so thank you again. I'm going to sit back here, try to take this jacket off. I don't need to be cute anymore because it's hot out here. But certainly thank you for coming. Again, I'm Councilmember Carolyn Evans Shabazz, a survivor. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lesley Briones, and I'm grateful to serve as your Harris County Commissioner for Precinct 4. First, can we please take a moment to celebrate our survivors, including our very own Council Member, Dr. Evelyn Shabazz. To all of the survivors here in Harris County and throughout, nothing but the most profound respect. And can we please give it up for Emily Whitehurst and all of the Houston Area Women's Center team, and all of the city and county partners that made today possible. Today, we are making progress in Houston, Harris County. Today, with these additional 135 units, which will serve 360 people, we are increasing the capacity by 40% in our region. We are taking action to deliver progress. And we know, as many have mentioned, that we still have a long road ahead. Unfortunately, Harris County leads the state of Texas in intimate partner homicides, and we know that the turnaway rate, as has been discussed, is approximately 75%. Together, we must continue uniting to continue this progress. But here today, this holistic approach, the way families will be served, the school that will be in this facility, the playground, which we will all see momentarily, this is tremendous progress. The training, the mental health services. I'm energized, and I'm happy to be standing here not only as one of your commissioners, but more importantly, as someone who used to be a public school teacher. And I had many students who were afraid to go home. And seeing how that affected their learning and seeing that cycle of violence continue, we must do better by our families. Harris County has been proud to invest over $20 million to combat domestic violence. A substantial portion of that has gone to the Houston Area Women's Center, and we remain steadfast in that commitment. But I'm also happy as a mom of 3 little girls. When you look at the stats, I worry every day that one of them might become a victim of domestic violence. So it's up to all of us to be educating our youth so that together we can make our community as safe as it can be. So very, very briefly in Spanish. Primero quiero dar las gracias a todos nuestros socios aquí de la ciudad de Houston y el condado Jerez, también especialmente a la presidenta Emily Whitehurst de Houston Area Women's Center y también a todos los sobrevivientes de la violencia doméstica. Hoy abre sus puertas One Safe Place Houston, un faro de esperanza para quienes han sufrido violencia doméstica. Este centro brinda apoyo para que los sobrevivientes reconstruyan sus vidas. Sabemos que aquí en el Condado Jerez, 75% de las víctimas que buscan refugio son rechazadas por falta de espacio. Pero hoy estamos aquí mejorando la situación en el condado. Aquí estamos aumentando el espacio 40% en esta región. One Safe Place Houston ofrece vivienda, asesoría legal, atención médica, cuidado infantil y formación laboral. El condado Jerez está muy orgulloso de haber invertido más de $20 millones atacando este problema tan grave de la violencia doméstica. Y estos fondos fueron fondos federales, así muchísimas gracias al expresidente Biden y Harris por este apoyo, y también estos fondos estaban invertidos en este edificio espectacular. Estamos en esto juntos. Como mamá de 3 hijas, siempre temo que una de mis hijas, o tal vez más de una de mis hijas, van a ser víctimas. Y también fui maestra. Yo tenía estudiantes que temían regresar a la casa. Y debemos a todas nuestras familias algo mejor aquí en el Condado Jerez. Así, con la unidad, trabajando en equipo, vamos a continuar el progreso en esta región. Y de nuevo, felicidades, Emily, y a todo su equipo. Así vamos juntos, adelante. Gracias.
I'm Rodney Ellis, and I'll try not to repeat the great things that have been said, so I'll associate myself with the comments of my colleagues. I did note that most of the money that you have gotten from the government entities in our region has been because of federal money. And those of us who are in local government have tremendous challenges. And you're going to experience those challenges, Emily. Assuming the federal money does not come, I think it's incumbent on all of us to be good neighbors. I'm going to do my best because I am the neighbor right next door. So we're going to make our facilities available. I think we're going to house about 30 of your people in some of the office space that we're no longer using. And I think all of us in government have to do that. And we got to encourage the private sector and our philanthropic community to even dig deeper than they have dug before. I had a prominent minister who asked me if he could do something to help me. And Emily was already kind of rubbing it in, so to speak, because the city had put up the bulk of the money for this building. So I said, well, why don't you just consider giving it to the center next door instead of giving it to me? And he gave you $50,000. But look, you're going to need a lot more than that. And you got to help us make the case to the public. I want to appeal to you. If our federal partners don't come through the way they did in the past, hopefully our state partners may step up. But if they don't, we got to reach deep within inside ourselves, and even at some point have to ask the taxpayers, Harris County or of the city of Houston, if they're willing to make this investment. It is a crisis. As the judge, the mayor, my colleague, the councilwoman, all have said. What I love about this facility is, Emily, I think it's considered the best practice now. You come out of the closet. No longer is this a secret. I think that one of the best models in the country is San Diego. Was a lot of glass. You know that it's there. It's incumbent Shantier, DA Tier, and law enforcement to make sure we protect these women who are leaving an abusive situation. Now, my primary job today
opportunity to contribute to my community through an organization that provided life-saving skills and protection for me, free from domestic and sexual violence. So lastly, in closing, this message is directly for those who are currently suffering and feel that they have nowhere to turn and nowhere to go. One place Houston gets it. With 48 years of experience of being very passionate for this cause, this is what they dedicate their lives to. Every woman I met coming into this center was so empathetic. They have their own story, and they totally understand what you are going through. This facility is built on empathy, is designed with the needs of victims in mind, and is respectful for your situations and what you have been through. This is a place of humanity. You are right, and what you are experiencing is unjust. You are not being overdramatic that you and your children may be unsafe. It is not just a feeling. You will be seen here and you will be heard. The life you once thought that was unattainable, or if you cannot imagine for yourself, can be achieved. And we have the resources to help you attain those goals. Your safety will be the top priority, your mind will be at ease, and your heart will begin to heal here. When we open our doors in April, I invite everyone to step through and begin their own life-changing path. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chief Diaz with the Houston Police Department. I want to thank the distinguished guest, good Mayor John Whitmire. First, let me start by really focusing on what the HAWC does for the community. You know, it provides a space of warmth, a space of growth, a space of love in the community when sometimes home isn't warm, isn't a place of growth, isn't a place of love. I want to thank the community. I want to thank our partners at the Harris County Sheriff's Office. My dear friend, Sheriff Gonzalez is not here today, but we work collectively every single day to do this. The Houston Police Department has over 150 people committed to the HAWC, not only for the actual care, but for the aftercare. I want to thank the people that actually do the hard work, the staff that's actually taking some of these victims to court, the people preparing the food at this facility, the people that are actually doing the work often don't get recognized. They're not going to be in front of a microphone. But as the chief of police, I recognize that it's a tough job. The call takers, it's a 24/7 operation, and they should be commended at all times. But for us, our responsibility is to continue a seamless integration with the hardy resource that we already provide to the HAWC, so that this is successful, because a successful HAWC is a successful Houston, a successful Harris County. So thank you very much. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you again to my dear friend Meredith Cullen, who's not here, but his namesake, the Cullen Foundation, provides resources, the Brown Foundation, for all that they do, for all the philanthropic people that come into this community to make this a success. I actually toured it when it was dusty and under construction, and it's an amazing place. You guys will enjoy the tour. So stay focused. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Good morning. So we've only been here out here 30 minutes, so it's not that long. I know everybody's getting a tan, so it's all good. And I'd like to start with, we have come a long way, baby. So I've been at HAWC for 33 years and have seen a lot of our programs and facilities evolve. But before I start, I wanted to recognize our founder and the very first executive director, Nikki Van Hightower. (1977). I also wanted to recognize, if you are a board member, just wave, or a former. Thank you for your work. So I'm going to try not to repeat what people have said, just in the interest of time. But we know, as we heard before, that domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking, sex trafficking, are recognized as public health crises. And they're human rights violations. They are widespread, with severe consequences on individuals, families, and entire communities. And recognizing them as a public health problem emphasizes the need to address its root causes, as we heard earlier from Judge Hidalgo. So stopping the violence before it happens is the best thing. But we know that it's widespread. So we have to implement prevention strategies in order to address it. And this is one of the prevention strategies that's why we're here today. But this approach requires us to be collaborative at all levels. And what does that mean? It means to be multidisciplinary, coordinated, trauma-informed. And it involves, as we heard earlier, the healthcare, law enforcement, criminal and civil justice systems, social service agencies, like many who are here today. I want to give a shout out to Barrier Turning Point, who is one of our sister organizations, the police departments, Lieutenant Claft. There's a lot of people here today, Memorial Herman. There's a lot of people and organizations here today that make this work every single day happen. And now we have to do it better than ever. Because when we invest as a community in partnership, the investments from all the partners at every level ensures that the systems are held accountable beyond the individual accountability. And so our goal with this campus is to ensure that our key partners and strategic partners are co-located with us. Because what that's going to do is that for survivors, it means immediate access to safety and services, and it also ensures long-term safety. Survivors deserve they deserve safe, stable housing, healing-centered trauma support, and economic justice. And so the prevention and advocacy that we do are the building blocks for a future where healthy and safe relationships are going to thrive. Just very briefly, I'm going to say some remarks in Spanish, a few bullet points. Buenos días, estamos aquí hoy para celebrar la apertura de nuestro nuevo centro de vivienda de emergencia y transición y los servicios de apoyo para declarar victoria en la primera fase de nuestros planes de expansión. One Safe Place Houston representa el siguiente capítulo de los 48 años de historia del Centro de Mujeres del área de Houston. Es un campus integral y seguro, más de 5 acres, que ofrece servicios integrales para las sobrevivientes que son adultas y niños y niñas. Hemos construido, como ya oyeron hoy, 135 apartamentos que cuando estén llenos van a triplicar fácilmente la cantidad de personas que podríamos atender. Como dijo la comisionada Briones, 360 personas pueden caber aquí, de 120. El campus también es un centro para personas que necesitan ayuda, pero quizás no viven aquí. O sea que esas personas en la comunidad que necesitan ayuda pueden venir aquí a buscar ayuda sin estarse en el campus. Eso también es muy importante. Y una de las cosas más importantes de que quiero que escuchen ahora es de que la ubicación de nosotras ahora es pública. Es un cambio fundamental con respecto a la práctica anteriormente. O sea que ahora somos público, antes estábamos escondidos, pero ahora ya no. Tomamos esta decisión porque queremos que la comunidad, especialmente las sobrevivientes, se den cuenta que hay servicios aquí en el condado y en la ciudad de Houston. Porque aquí puede la gente venir. Todavía las personas que vienen a buscar ayuda nos dicen, no sabía de los recursos que existían. Entonces queremos cambiar eso. La violencia doméstica y la agresión sexual son problemas de salud pública. Entonces tenemos que nosotros trabajar con los aliados para poder combatir este tipo de violencia. Sabemos que en el Centro de Mujeres del área de Houston no podemos hacer lo podemos hacer solas. Entonces tenemos que tener estratégicas de prevención y la única manera de hacerlo es con los aliados. Entonces vamos a invitar a los aliados que también se queden aquí para trabajar con nosotros y tengan una oficina. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Oh, I forgot to say my name. My name's Sonia Corrales, and I'm the Deputy CEO.
The amazing Deputy CEO. Okay, folks, we are almost done. I want to just give you an idea of where we're going from here. We have completed construction. We are moving clients in April. We will then return our attention to our current facility. It will become a 24-hour crisis response center, a violence prevention institute, a collaboration hub for our partners to office out of, and we hope to have all of this completed by our 50th anniversary in 2027. We have raised $41 million. We're trying to get to 50 by 50, so all manner of support is welcome. There is a tip jar in the Welcome Center. Just kidding. Okay, now I know you want to see this tour. Thank you for being here. It really does take everybody, and I look forward to counting on each one of you as we go forward. Thank you so much. Linda?